Hello and welcome. I am DEJI360. Although the 2023 presidential election still remains a big talking point, it seems preparations for the 2027 presidential election may have begun in earnest. Following their defeat now, both former presidential candidates of the People's Democratic Party and the Labour Party have begun talking about a possible merger for 2027. Atiku Abubakar actually floated the idea, saying that it was necessary for the major opposition parties to merge so that Nigeria does not slip into a one-party state. Now, the Labour Party has responded, saying the merger proposal is a good idea that should be considered. The New Nigeria People's Party, in its own reaction, says it could only accept the proposal if Abubakar would support a former governor of Kano State, Rabiu Kwankwaso, to be the presidential candidate of any arrangement that may result from the proposed merger. Now, the party's National Publicity Secretary, Yakubu Shendam, said any merger being considered must be to support Kwankwaso to become president. Otherwise, the NNPP was not interested. Meanwhile, the ruling APC has said it is not moved or threatened by Atiku's call for opposition parties to close ranks against the ruling party. Let's discuss this further now. I'm being joined on the program by Chief Uche Nwora, who is a political affairs analyst and a communication expert. Also joining us is Abubakar Kari, who is a political affairs analyst. Both men, of course, joining us from Abuja. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on the show. Let me start with you, Mr. Kari. This is nothing new, but quite surprising that former Vice President now Abubakar would be floating this idea after the presidential election, because a lot of people had expected this was going to happen before the presidential election in February, but it did not. So what makes this different?
Well, as you mentioned, this is not the first time such an idea was being broached, even by Atiku Abubakar. As a matter of fact, if you recall very well, Atiku Abubakar was involved in the formation of the APC. APC itself is an amalgam of several political parties and political groupings. What makes this particular thing different, I think, is the timing. This time around, it appears the agitation started early enough, coming immediately on the heels of the pronouncement by the Supreme Court affirming Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the president. And what happened for me was more than flying a kite. It appears that Atiku has something up his sleeve. It also appears that Atiku is not ready to give up, contrary to the expectations of many, that given his age and frequent failure to get the coveted prize of the presidency, he would give up. So I think this time around, Atiku has started very early, and it will be quite different because having started this early, he will have all the opportunities to evaluate the several or many obstacles on the way and to attempt to surmount them.
Chief Nwora, let me ask you this. Do you think, just as Dr. Kari has alluded there, that this might just be some kind of preparation for Atiku's 2027 run, that there's every likelihood that we might have him on the ballot again in 2027? And the question is who among the three parties? Kwankwaso's party has made it very clear that now that he would not consider stepping down for anyone. So between Obi and Atiku, for instance, who would accept to step down for who?
Unfortunately, Nigerians don't want to talk about politics at this point in time, Deji. I mean, that's not what we should be talking about. We should be talking about governance. We should be talking about dividends of democracy. We should be talking about putting food on the table of families. I've just come back from the Southeast, where I spent the last 2 weeks, and I can tell you, I moved around the local communities there. I interacted with people, with the local folks. There's hunger in the land. That's what people want to talk about. The former Vice President Turaki Adamawa, I mean, it's his view. He has a right to his own opinion. And if he thinks that opposition political parties should think along the line of united and forming whatever name they want to call it, well, I mean, he's free to his wishes, but I don't think there's anything serious to it, because I read the statement that he put out. I think it was the IPAC, Inter-Party Advisory Council, that went to pay him a visit, and it was along the line of that conversation that statement was made. And what he said was that the ruling party, the All Progressive Congress, APC, they were driving Nigeria towards a one-party state. And I asked myself, Alaja Atiku's political party, the PDP, they were in government from 1999 till 2015. That was for like 16 years. APC has only been in power for 8 years. So this the 9th year, with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So what I think should happen now is we'll finish that election cycle, and we now need to grapple with the challenges facing this country. It cost me 120,000 naira to fly from Anambra to Abuja. We used to pay 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 in the past. These are the challenges.
I understand. I understand
yes.
your point, and of course, I mean, these are issues we always discuss on the program. But at this time, we just want to dissect this whole idea of this opposition, especially the major opposition political parties now coming together. And for me, I'm interested to find out from you if you think this is just like a dress rehearsal, if you like, for a possible Atiku's run in 2027.
That's what I'm saying. Wow, we are in 2023. Why are we thinking about 2027? I mean, that's far off. That's what I'm saying. I don't think that's what Nigerians want to talk about at this point in time. Moreover, I don't even see how that's going to happen. Is it going to be a case of strange bedfellows? I don't even see the PDP with the Labour. I mean, how is that going to be? Or the Kwankwaso NNPP? How is that going to work? So I don't see that happening.
I mean, if it worked for the APC, who says it can't work for the PDP? Because, I mean, let's face it, nobody ever expected that former President Buhari was going to merge with, the current president now and other political parties to form the AC, as it then was, before it became APC. So, I mean, you just can't rule it out.
I think the dynamics are different. The times have changed. The individuals involved are different. So, I mean, from that point of view, okay, let me even take the labor movement, for example, being championed by Mr. Peter Obi. You see, that's predominantly driven by the young people of this country. And then look at Atiku, a man like Atiku. I mean, how old is Atiku now? I mean, I don't even see, the people that were once described as two people to eat in a room. I don't even see how they can work, with people from his generation in terms of trying to, set up a new political movement. So that's why I think, we need such criticisms, because you need to keep the present government in check. You need to also put them on their toes. So that's why maybe the statement from the Turaki Adamawa, yes.
Let me come to you, Dr. Kari. What do you think? Do you think it's impossible for these, especially you look at the Labour Party and the PDP, you think it's impossible for them to merge? Especially when you consider the fact that Peter Obi was, until the eve of the presidential election, a member of the PDP.
Well, nothing is impossible in politics. As a matter of fact, one of the definitions of politics, scientific definition of politics, is that it is the art of the possible. And let us recall that all these political parties in this Fourth Republic, in terms of pupilling, in terms of membership, are not substantially different from one another. In terms of programs, in terms of beliefs, in terms of personnel, and so on and so forth. Therefore, it is not impossible, though it may be a little bit difficult. If we go back into a not too distant past, nobody expected elements of the APP and AD to bond together and attempt to get the presidency at the expense of the PDP in 1999. people like Bola Ige later became strong pro-PDP elements after the collapse of the first alliance. And even if you look at the APC as an alliance, it is actually a collection of strength bedfellows. Within APC, there are avowed Marxists, there are centrists, there are monarchists, there are conservatives, there are radical elements, and so on and so forth. And therefore, in terms of focus, in terms of ideology, all these people are not different from one another. The common denominator is, of course, the urge to wrestle power away from APC. And all those political gladiators, whether Atiku, Peter Obi, or Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, share the same objective. And therefore, if one or two of them realize that teaming up together is the solution, is what will fed them power, they will certainly go for it. So don't be surprised if a party emerges from these talks, or a fusion of some kind takes place anytime soon or later.
And initially you said, look, the country may not be done with seeing the face of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. And you said, look, he might have some ace up his sleeve now for floating this idea. Do you think, from what you can see and from the way you're reading the situation, that we just can dismiss any permutation at all that we may see the former Vice President on the ballot in 2027? Irrespective of his age?
Yeah, I think the simplest conclusion to be, or inference to be drawn from all these moves by Atiku is that he's not tired, and that he's still very much interested in flying the ticket of a political party, whether PDP or any other party, in 2027. And it shows that he has started making real moves, making pronouncements, flying kites, visiting leaders, making contacts, political subterfuging and maneuvering, and so on and so forth. So the up he may have up his sleeve is that from now on, they may decide to give APC a run for their money. And for God's sake, there are so many things to say about APC since Tinubu have taken over, particularly those that have not gone down well with the ordinary Nigerians. So with the right moves and the right people, I think it is possible to crystallize a strong and robust opposition that will give APC a run for their money. And I think that is exactly what Atiku and co are planning to do.
Dr. Ngora, I can understand that 2027 is still very far away, but you know, in politics, I say it's not far. It's just, I mean, most people will tell you that politicians started preparing for 2027 the day after the 2023 general election. So, but let me ask you, let's even take the PDP and the Labour Party. It was practically impossible for them to come together in 2023. Of course, you know what went on in the PDP. At the end of the day, at some point, everybody thought the presidency was going to be zoned to the southeast of the country, or the south, but it didn't happen. Atiku still stood his ground and contested, won the primaries, and went on to fly the party's flag in the presidential election. You look at the character of both men, for instance, Atiku and Peter Obi. You think, for instance, an Atiku Abubakar would want to step down, you know, form an alliance with Peter Obi, and then choose to stay in the background and allow him to go forward?
Well, the way I read the situation, I was fortunate I was in Anambra up until yesterday. I attended a lecture, and I listened to Mr. Peter Obi speak at that lecture. It was the 6th lecture. And I mean, he comes to me as someone who's still very vibrant. I mean, looking at his age, so he still has a long way to go in politics. And I think he understands the mandate he's carrying. He's carrying the mandate of the people. He's carrying the mandate of the popular Nigerians, the young people, the youthful Nigerians. So I see P2B being very cautious and being very careful, with his future political maneuvers, in the sense that I think that he will be blowing a whole lot of goodwill that he has garnered, that he has gained from, the so-called obedient movement. And mind you, the so-called obedient movement people are not actually Labour Party members. These are independent guys, also from the APC, from the PDP, from all the other parties, but they have a sympathy for, the ideas and the philosophy of Mr. Peter Obi. So that's why they came, they rally around him. So I think that it might be dangerous for us to now to be thinking about Mr. Peter Obi wanting to go and get into some kind of alliance with Mr. Atiku. Don't forget that when he started this journey, he kept referring to Atiku Abubakar as his Oga, as his mentor, as his friend, and big brother and all that. But you can see we just have that political divergence now. I think Peter is now on his way. He has his part cut out for him. Atiku Abubakar represents the old order, and I don't see that how that can work. If Peter attempts that, I think he's going to be blowing his goodwill. So maybe, if you notice, the obedient movement took just 1 year to form. So, like you rightly observed, between now and 2027, there could be other movements. There could be other individuals that will just wake up and come out and drive Nigerians, because people are looking for change. People want to eat. People want to be able to take their children to school safely, and all that. So, there's a lot that will happen in the future. Thank you.
But again, let me ask you. You think if Peter Obi, for instance, continues to adopt the strategy that he adopted in the last election, you think he would stand any chance? Because I accept the fact that he's popular. And when you talk about the obedient movement, there's no question that it's popular. But let's not also deny the fact that, look, that popularity is mainly in the south of the country. In the north, he hasn't gained that much traction at all. And he definitely would want to.
I don't think so. I think probably what I would say about that election was that, there's a popular saying in Nigeria,
it just might not be a bad idea at all to work with someone like
nobody gave Peter Obi a chance. And then look at how far he performed in that election. So I think that, there's still a lot that can happen. We all know what happened, during that election. I don't want to talk about it, but where we are, the courts have ruled that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the president of Nigeria. So that's where we stand for now. So let's see what will happen in the future. Yes.
Okay. Dr. Kari, I'll give you the final word. What do you think? You think Obi should continue to maintain the same strategy that he used in 2023 and try to galvanize the support of young people, especially in the south of the country? Because, as I said, we didn't see that traction in the north. So what do you think he would need to do, for instance, to gain traction in the north, and get more votes from there?
Well, I think so far the alliance that has brought Bola Ahmed Tinubu together in the north is faltering. And so all Atiku Onko needs to do is to continue to harp on the issue of Tinubu not living up to expectation in terms of its commitment to northern Nigeria and the northern elements. And another thing again for him to do is to mobilize the discontentment within the APC, the people who are not happy, who feel excluded, or who feel not involved, to mobilize them and to bring them to his fold. It is actually not difficult to mobilize northern Nigeria. All you need to do is to understand their political history, what they want, and what they detest. And I'm sure Atiku and Co know all these things. It will not be the same again as in 2023, in 2027. It does appear from now. And therefore, there are so many things that APC needs to do to ensure that the alliance remain intact. And so far, as I mentioned, is faltering systematically, but not so substantially. The economy has been wobbling. The idea of a political patronage is not being exactly handled to the satisfaction of many of the political leaders and political gladiators from the north. And if Atiku prepares very well, he may profit from it. However, his major problem is the PDP as a party. First and foremost, PDP is not together. PDP has remained disparate, has remained in very serious crisis, strife, riven with crisis and so on and so forth. And as long as it remains so, it will not be able to muster the kind of strength and the kind of followership to seriously threaten the APC. There is also the issue of Atiku's age and the fact that Peter Obi now looks at him as even subordinated to him, be much younger, and also having enjoyed a large section of the Nigerian electorate. He may not agree to play the second fiddle again.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But the prospects of crystallizing a huge alliance to counter the APC is quite irresistible.
Yeah. And of course, the APC no doubt will be watching, and then we just wait and see how everything plays out. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on the program. Dr. Uche Nwora, thank you very much for your time. Dr. Abubakar Kare, thank you also very much for your time. All right, we'll take a short break and we'll be right back. Stay with us, don't go away.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On DEJI360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts, and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians are saying in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
DEJI360, dissecting the issues.